Hello, I'm Valerie Banks and I worship at St Mark's Church at Hadlow Down. I use these daily bread notes to help me read and understand my Bible every day. You can just see the outside of the book there. The reading for Tuesday this week was Matthew chapter 4, verses 12 to 17, and this is how the passage goes. When Jesus heard that John had been put in prison, he returned to Galilee. Leaving Nazareth, he went and lived in Capernaum, which was by the lake in the area of Zebulun and Naphtali, to fulfill what was said through the prophet Isaiah. The land of Zebulun and land of Naphtali, the way to the sea along the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles, the people living in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. From that time on, Jesus began to preach, "Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is near." And these were the explanations for that reading in the Daily Bread. For the scrupulous religious elite in Jerusalem, the tribal lands of Zebulun and Naphtali in northern Israel were no des res. They were areas to avoid. This region, which included Galilee, was a spiritual backwater, diluted by the pagan practices of the Gentiles. Historically, the northern tribes had lived literally in the shadow of death, as wave after wave of foreign armies had invaded, slaughtered and deported the people. Isaiah 8:19 to 9:1 provides their backstory. These tribes had turned away from God and had been humbled through testing and judgment. Surely they did not deserve to be the first to see the great light, as God's promised Messiah King. It is a sign of God's undeserved kindness that the Messiah should choose to live among people with a troubled past, who had failed and forsaken God, and who had known the violence of war and the pain of exile. What a powerful message of hope. God's servant king becomes their neighbour and offers them a second chance. And if we feel we've failed or forgotten God, let's heed Jesus' warning and turn back to him completely. The thing that they call prepare at the top of the page is to prepare us for reading that. And this is what the passage said, and this is why I'm doing this recording this morning, because it meant so much to me. It said, "Imagine Jesus knocks on your door. He's come to stay. What will you do together? Where will you take him? What will you talk about?" Well, my brain immediately started working. I thought, oh, how wonderful. These were some of my thoughts. There's a knock on the door. You weren't expecting anyone. Who can it be? You open it. You find it's Jesus. You know him a bit, of course, from where you go to church, but you weren't expecting him to visit you, so he'll have to take you as he finds you, because you haven't got anything ready for him. He doesn't mind. He'd far rather you sat down and talked with him and told him about your troubles and worries, about COVID, for instance. He'd love you to show him around your garden, see some of the things that you value most, with all their history, perhaps. He'd love to meet your families and friends too. You could take him for a walk around Buxted and Hadlow Down and show him where your friends, fellow parishioners and neighbours live. You could tell him some of the problems that they have that you know about. He will know them from your prayers, of course. When you get back, you'll both prepare a simple meal and enjoy eating it together. How special is that? At the end of his visit, you will really have enjoyed it, and you will love him so much. You will feel as though his spirit is still with you. Your troubles will be so much lighter because you talked with him and offloaded them onto him. He said that you shouldn't just keep this visit to yourself, but you should share it with as many people as you can. How glad you were that you answered the door that day.